Sundays have always been sacred to me. It gives me a chance to spend time with my family, with my friends, to focus on my faith. And honestly, We Rest on Sundays is a platform that I've created to help you navigate the complexities of the world. I want to spend time having open, honest dialogue with mentors, friends and family, and individuals that I truly believe are exceptional. We're going to focus on love, career, marriage, parenting, and everything in between. And the primary goal here is for us to become the better versions of ourselves every single day. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on Sunday. BT, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. In Atlanta, visiting family, seeing friends. Overall, good time.
Good, bro. Well, I appreciate you being here, man. I'm honored by you making the time, especially you coming down from New York. And really, I just want to have more of dialogue revolving around how I know you, the why, your career, your life, a lot of things that you've navigated. But I want to kick it off with just saying, one, man, I appreciate you. I'm honored by you and the brotherhood that we've developed over the years. You've been knowing me since I was 18. Literally half of my life at this point, which is
curls.
Yo, the curls,
man,
dog. Literally,
crazy.
man.
That's crazy.
And now I got the baldy, but yeah, man. Here we are. But no, man, I appreciate you, and you had the chance of really, pledging the frat before I did at Morehouse, and you were a 9, and then brought me in. I became a 9, and all the great things, which I appreciate, just again, your support through the years. I mean, especially during time periods where, in college being broke and you started your career in S&P, and I'm like, hey, man, I don't really got it. You floated me money, man. But again, I think that it's just a true brotherhood. And I didn't have that growing up. I was raised by sisters. So I continue to be just honored by the support that I always feel from you and the love and admiration. But tell me, man, who is Bryant Thomas?
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. Before I get into that, I also want to say that me being the youngest brother, I never really had a younger brother, person that I could also do that to, right? My sister helped me out, my brother helped me out, but helping you out was a thing that made me feel not like an older brother, but like a brother, like another brother. And then obviously as we grow older, I definitely don't see you as a younger brother. I see you definitely as my equal, of course. But that was something that was always admirable to me, watching you and seeing how your growth, right? Seeing you go from hitting me up for yo, can you give me $50? For that to having 2 kids, right? Marrying India, seeing all that, Chick-fil-A, Accenture, Deloitte, seeing you in Chicago. Seeing your growth is for me, it's just astronomical. It's seeing knowing your history, knowing your past, knowing your sisters, knowing your relationship with your mom. I think that is admirable, right? And it's as a friendship, brotherhood, whatever, it's you need to find people who can push you in ways that you can't push yourself. And that's one of the things that I'm very thankful for you to have as a friendship and a brotherhood, right? About me, I'm a son to my late mother and my father. I'm a brother to my older sister and my eldest brother, and I'm an uncle. So I would describe myself as a family person first. That's my biggest thing is family, right? I always center my life around family. It's ironic because I don't have my own immediate family, but working on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a family person. I'm a person who's devoted my life to different parts of my career, right? I chased money before, then I chased a specific type of lifestyle, and now I'm chasing something that's kind of a blend of both for me. And then overall, I just want to be a good friend to my friends that are very close, I'm close with, and just hopefully just leave a legacy of my own, that my father and my mother have left, and that my siblings are on the way to do.
Yeah, it's dope, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And you were originally from St. Louis.
Yep.
So tell me, you had the privilege of, early childhood, having both your parents in your life. What values do you feel like they instilled, in you prior to you transitioning to Morehouse?
Yeah, so my parents, so my dad is from Haiti, and my mother's from born and raised in Tennessee. My dad being from Haiti, like he had to go through it, right? Like he is a doctor. He's retired now, but like coming from Haiti to America, being a black doctor at that, right? They weren't taking any black doctors pretty much in the United States. So my dad was like kind of like jumping around trying to find a place, and landed him in St. Louis at Homer G. Phillips Hospital, which was the only hospital at the time that was taking black doctors, right? And my father's an OBGYN. That wasn't his first choice, but that was basically his only choice, right? So the thing that my father instilled in me the most was, right, like, even if they don't give you the choice you want, you make the best of what it is. And my dad did that. And now he loves being OBGYN. I mean, he's delivered over like 20,000 babies. And he was like I'm probably a little biased, but he'd probably tell you this himself, but he's one of the best doctors in the Midwest area for OBGYN, especially for black women as well. So that, and then my mom was everything, man. I don't even know how to describe all the values that she's instilled in me, but like, my mom, the biggest thing that she told me was like, always bring somebody with you, right? Wherever you go, always bring somebody with you. So getting back to when you were saying like, when you were kind of like down bad, it was like, I was up then. So it's like, I need to bring you with me, right? Like whatever I could do to help you, like even if it was like smallest thing, like I'm gonna do that, right? Especially if it's somebody who like looks like me, like and just wants to be like everything that they want to be, like everything that they want, like they want to break the chains and stuff like that. Like I have to help them if I can help them, right? And that was like my biggest thing that my mom taught me. Like if there's something you can do to help somebody get to a place that they can go or they want to go, you should definitely help them.
Yeah,
So,
man.
Yeah.
That's dope. And I don't think you've never shared that part of your journey with me, because I think like, obviously I experienced that, you know what I'm saying? I've
Yeah.
always felt that. And from, you know what I'm saying, early college to adulthood, no matter what the conversation is that we're talking through or what I'm navigating, what you may be navigating, I've always felt that, or like even the simple things, making time. If I'm in New York and I'm like, hey man, like, can you grab brunch? Can you do this? Like, yeah, like I'll figure it out. I'll move some things around. So I think it's special, man. But tell me about, you pledged Alpha at Morehouse, similar to me. How did you even find Morehouse? And then can you talk a little bit more about like the significance that Alpha has played in your life?
Of course, yeah. So I found Morehouse. Well, my mom went to TSU, Tennessee State University, as HBCU. So she went to all black school. So growing up, me and my siblings, we all went to majority white high schools, right?
Private or?
Private high schools, yeah, private high schools. And very
Prestigious.
prestigious and very like academically, they're very rigorous schools, right? And so we were always surrounded by people who did not look like us, right? Especially in the area that we lived in. We lived in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood too. So we never were really around other black people outside of maybe like a few sports and stuff like that. So when my brother, who's 4 years older than me, had the opportunity to go to college, my mother didn't really give him an option. It was always going to be Morehouse. So it was like we went to visit other schools when my brother was doing his college thing. I think he got into like University of Miami, some other schools. She didn't let him go visit there. I think the only school we went to go visit was Morehouse.
Wow.
And then she was like, yeah, you're going here. And then it was like, all right. And then as a younger brother, you might battle with your older brother or whatever, but you also keep him at a high light, right? So then when I saw my brother go and I saw like him, like kind of like his process of him growing and like seeing him like change, it made me want to also attend Morehouse. And so that was was that the only school I applied to? I think I applied to like 2 or 3 schools, but Morehouse was always going to be the destination for me. And also my mom was like, you're going to Morehouse too. And it was cool to see like other, like when I went to visit my brother, I saw like other like black like kids and men at the time, I shouldn't say kids, men, like doing things, right? Because in St. Louis, it's not like St. Louis is like terrible or anything like that, but it's like in St. Louis, it's like it's not a very affluent place for black people, right? So you don't get to see like the super smart black people. And then I went to Morehouse to visit, and my brother's telling me about these guys who are like super smart, whose families are super affluent. And I'm like, man, this is dope. Like this is like your own like village or community within a very prominent city of Atlanta. So I went to Morehouse. Again, my brother, a big influence on a lot of things that I did at Morehouse. My brother did not pledge Alpha, but all his closest friends were Alphas. So like all my brother's friends, like Charles Thompson, these names or whatever, but these guys were all Alphas or whatever. And so that made it an easier transition for me. It's a little bit of a nepotism, as you can say, to a degree. But it made it easier for me to figure out if I wanted to pledge a fraternity, what fraternity I would pledge, right? And they all knew me as like Little John. They're like, oh, Little John, yeah. So they didn't make it easier for me, but probably made it a little more difficult. But it made it an easier transition for me to pick which fraternity I would want to be in if I was able to be blessed to be in a fraternity. And then what Alpha means to me is very simple. Like Alpha is like, between Morehouse and Alpha, like those two things changed the trajectory of my life, I think, right? Morehouse, being around black men who are equally smart, equally motivated, equally driven, smarter than me, more driven than me, more motivated than me, put a battery in my back that made me push myself harder than what I would normally push myself. And then you make that even a smaller group, and then you make it Alpha, which is like even more of that, right? And then it's like you get to narrow down your focus of all these guys that you're around, and you just make it even a tighter knit. And then you guys go do something. You guys go do like a little bonding type of thing that I'm not gonna really speak on too much, but you go do like a little bonding experience, right? And then it's after you bond, it's like, yo, these are unbreakable bonds, right? And then when you're able to put somebody else through that unbreakable bond and you kind of teach them the ways, kind of like how me and you met, it's like, yo, it's like now we've went through the same thing, right? And then it's like, and now it's like we're all pulling each other up, right? So like my first job I got from S&P through a guy, he knew a guy from that was working at S&P. And I was a little bit late to like the job thing. I didn't understand how to work through it or whatever. And he was like, yo, he's like, you should hit up my boy. He works at S&P. So I hit this guy up. Guy hits up the guy who's a senior director at S&P, calls me. I probably have like a 30-minute phone call with him. He's like, cool. And I was like, cool. And then like a week later, I flew out to New York, had an interview, and I got a job offer the next day, pretty much. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is powerful, right? And it was just, and not only was that like powerful for, like for a career standpoint, but it was like, this guy didn't even know me.
Yeah.
But he's like, I know that you went through something similar to me, and we have a bond that is like unbroken. We don't speak on it like outside of our fraternity or chapter, but like it's just a bond that is just like, I got you. And that's and that changed my life, right? And it brought me to New York, and I've been in New York ever since. But yeah.
Yeah, man. It's really dope to hear that part of the journey, right? Because it's similar to you. It's like Morehouse plus Alpha changed the direction of my life.
Bro, ain't it?
And honestly, even meeting guys like you, where it's like I didn't have friends in Wisconsin whose parents, OBGYN or even like, for the most part, like a lot of my black friends, like their parents didn't go to college, Right. So it's like you get in this pool of uberly talented black kids,
bro,
uberly responsible black kids, uberly driven black kids, right? And to your point, some that are smarter than me, some that are not. And it's like, but you are there all trying to learn together
Yeah.
and trying to really trying to just get better and develop and like really come out and do something with your
Facts.
life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty behind it. And I think Alpha has opened up so many doors for me, and Morehouse has opened up so many doors for me as well. So that S&P is a great segue to my next question, man, because you started the first roughly 7 years of your career at Standard & Poor's or S&P in New York, in finance. Just share more about that journey, man, because I know that and really where I'm trying to go with it, because you hit on in the beginning of, your intro of like who is Bryant, is you mentioned I went through seasons of chasing money. I went through seasons of like not chasing money, and kind of in the mix of of both, and money and passion as well. But for me, outward looking in, those S&P years to me felt like it was like you were chasing money.
I was chasing the bag, my boy.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, I think it's when I was at S&P, man, it was 2008, and it was the financial crisis, right? So it was like, it was tough times. So that was a challenge in itself, right? And it was like, especially because S&P was pretty much involved, at fault for some of the defaults on all the mortgages and stuff like that. So it was a big challenge as far as that. And then it was just like, I had one goal. I was like, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30, right? Like I want to be able to be like, oh, this is a millionaire. Like I'm a millionaire. My sister's gonna be a millionaire. My brother's gonna be a millionaire. We're gonna be a family full of millionaires, right? And that was like my goal. Like all I cared about was money, 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 money. And S&P gave me a path to do that. But as I was going around that path, I started to kind of like lose myself. I kind of just got into a rut of just like going to work, doing like the same like things over and over again without like just dull moments, building on dull moments, right? And then I started to probably in my like fourth or fifth year there, I started to like really start to work out again, like really get into like working out. So I started to put myself on a schedule, wake up early, super early, work out. Then after I worked out, I went to work, and that kind of like gave me like a second jolt of energy, a second jolt of life, because it was like now I'm doing something more with my life than just going to work and chasing a bag, I guess. But that was like it was a pivotal moment because I also was thinking about going back to business school, but my business school track would have been me doing something in sports, and also aligning that with helping like athletes invest their money, right? Like I wanted to be a person who trains the athlete and also helps them invest their money. So that was like my idea of where I could make something that's like profitable for me, as well as like help people who are in need, which are to me Black athletes, right? Because Black athletes burn through their money. I'm like, I can train you and I can help you save your money and invest your money. That was like my goal in my head. And so at that point, I think I was like year 5.5, maybe going on year 6. So I started applying for these internships at this company called Exos, which is a performance like center for like all the NFL athletes or NBA athletes that go into combine or about to prepare for the NFL. And they all told me I couldn't do it because I need to be in school. I need to have like some type of because it was an unpaid job or whatever. So I was like, I'll do it for free. I was like, I just want to do it. They're like, no. And then so I started going another route, and so I started to email all these colleges in New York about strength and conditioning, and I was like, hey, can I do an internship here? Can I do an internship here? They're like, no, you have no experience of training. So I was like, I kind of got down on it a bit, and I just kept on working out at the time, and I was like, this is the only thing that's keeping me afloat. I spoke to my parents about it, and I was like, I'm gonna leave at some point. And they were like, make sure you have your money, because we ain't helping you. And I was like, damn, that's cold. But so yeah, I did that, and then on Memorial Day of 2015, I just decided I was gonna quit. Memorial Day comes, my boss is like, oh, I'll see you after Memorial Day. And I was like, no, you won't. And that was it. I never came back.
Really?
Yeah, I never came back. I just walked out and I was like, never came back. And I was just set on the way, like, I need to figure out a way to get into something that I'm passionate about. And if I was there doing something I wasn't passionate about, it was basically taking away from the time I could be doing something that I care about. So at that point, I left my job. I had some money saved up.
But how much did you have saved up at that point living in New York?
At the time, I was dating a girl and we were living together, so that helped with the expenses
Okay.
of the New York lifestyle, right? So I probably had probably like 25 to thirty-five
Yeah.
thousand dollars saved up. I can't recall.
And how much of a runway did you feel like,
That
okay,
gave me
yeah,
probably like 6 months to
yeah,
be very honest, because it's like New York's just expensive,
yeah,
right? And
yep,
it's like obviously you have to like curtail like all your like other lifestyle things that you want
yep.
to do for this, but I knew that like it'll be for the betterment of myself. So I was like I need to learn how to train people, right?
Yeah.
So from there,
Because this was your passion.
because that was what I was
Yeah.
passionate about, right? Like I enjoy like working out myself, and I was like, if I can help other people get that passion, it's like the money thing will come whenever it comes, right? And it'll come fast. Pause. So then I started to apply for all these jobs of like Equinox, right? I was like, oh, I want to be a trainer at Equinox. So like I applied, got the interview, which was nothing, but pretty much. And I started working as a trainer. As a trainer at Equinox, you don't make much at all. Like my first year, I think I made like $17,000.
Wow.
So it's
Living
like
in New York.
literally, yeah, living in New York. So I went from making well over six figures
Yeah.
to making like $17,000, $20,000 my first year, and I probably had like one client.
What was also, and sorry, but like,
Nah, go ahead.
because this is the part of the story for me that's like, you really bet on yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what made you, I guess, how did you have the confidence to say, I'm going to leave this six-figure, well-paying job
Yeah.
and step into training is the first part of the question. The second part of the question is really just like, what do you feel like, because at Morehouse, we all know at Morehouse, like it is, especially if you study business at Morehouse,
Yeah.
it's uberly competitive and the sexy thing to do is be on the street,
Yeah.
be in Chicago working for a bank or a management consulting firm.
Wearing a suit.
Wearing a suit, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of that can be just I got caught in the noise, you got caught in the noise
Yeah.
for a little bit, right? Like,
Yeah.
how did you break that cycle and get out of that noise and and have the confidence and the confidence to pivot into being a trainer and make it $17,000 at Equinox?
Oof. That confidence is really more so like, I think it was me also really just like kind of like leaning on faith. And kind of like my mom always used to tell me like, why not me? Like why not you? Like how come you can't do it? Right? And I thought about it then, and I was just like, why not me? Like why can't I do this? Like why can't I go from this job to this job and then make this job just as lucrative as this job? And I was just like, why not me? And so like I just I again like I knew if I didn't take the risk then, I would never take it. Right. And I was like, at least I'm young enough at that time that where I could take that risk and be like, all right, this is not working out for me. Let me pivot back to something that's more safe. But I knew that my window for like my risk tolerance was getting shorter and shorter. Right. And like, and again, like I mentioned before, like I'm back in my mind, like I'm a family person. Like I want to have like a family myself. And it's like, if I don't take this risk now, me in the future won't be able to take this risk with the family, right? Because I don't want to put my wife or my future kids or anything like that at risk, because that's the most important part to me. So I was like, I need to do this now to see what it's like, because I don't want to have any regrets of not taking the shot. So that's what kind of like just made me do it. And then also like it's gonna sound kind of crazy, but like I don't like being a having my dad around and like being like my dad worked for himself. He had his private practice. So like him being his own boss and him being a black man was like a pivotal thing to me, right? And then so like me always having somebody like telling me what to do, that was like a white guy. This sounds terrible, probably,
No, no.
but a white guy who I don't think is as smart as me, as educated as me, as like savvy as me without getting around like the business and stuff like that, made me not appreciate the job that much more.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, and it irked me, and I was like, I need to also just do this for me because like I can't keep up with this. So that was another reason why, but that was like a smaller reason why. The main reason why was like I knew I had to take that shot now, right? Because it's like that window does close. How fast does it close? I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good, man. So you like first year leaving again, like
Oh yeah.
leaving 106 figures, and then 17K your first
Humble.
year. Yeah, like
Or
how,
was I humbled?
did you have, and then you're seeing, other people in New York that stayed in finance,
Yeah. So that was tough, right? Because I had like because at this time, I believe, for instance, for you were actually shifting into, I think you were at Deloitte. Were you at Deloitte first? Accenture first.
Accenture first, yep.
So you're at Accenture now. And then, so my sister was in Chicago.
Yep.
And you were in Chicago. So like I would go like visit like my sister, and I would see you, and I'd be like, damn, this nigga, man, just been getting the money now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo. And then in my head, I'm like, yo, I'm not getting the money.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm not getting the money anymore. And it's like, is this really worth it? Like, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right decision? That was like for me, that was like the crossroads I had to go into. It's like, did I make the right decision? Did I put enough effort into this where I can be like, I've made a right decision or a poor decision, and do I need to go backwards, or have I given enough time and effort to say, like, I need to push forward? So the money part was the hardest part for me, right? Like, I didn't mind the grind of it, but my second year is when I was like, I'm gonna put my foot down and like try to hit the gas pedal on it. And then I think that second year I went from like 17 to probably like 50 or 60,000. Mm-hmm. And then by my third year at Equinox, I was making close to six figures. And then as I got promoted through the ranks of Equinox, I was making well over six figures again. Not well over, I was making over six figures again. Yeah. So I was back to where I was before. So I felt at a better place. But then I got the same bug again, and then at that point, at Equinox, it was like 2019, my mom got sick, and then that's when things shifted again for me.
Yeah. Bro, I have to tell this story because it correlates to the fitness piece. Because yeah, man. Like so before I even jump into that, I think for you, and maybe I've shared it with you or I haven't, but you're probably number one guy when it's like that really saw your passion pretty early and was like, nah, like I'm not, because all the things that you just unpacked right there, I'm sure I thought about it, like he's probably wrestling with this, but you never exuded that, right? Like there was never any shakiness in your approach, or like you were just like going towards the goal and going towards your passion. And for me, I was like, that continued to, it still challenges me where it's like, okay, Ben, like lean, you need to, don't be scared, lean into it, like trust the process. So like, thank you for doing that. But another thank you as well, in a roundabout way, during COVID, I was the fattest I had ever been in my entire life. I was weighed,
Bubble butt.
Dude, listen, 242.
Crazy, man.
And typically I had been used to being in shape and, like keeping up with myself. And this was just a season of like.
Yeah, I really hope that you put the picture of you with the curly hair and the ad where you had like. I had the ads. I was like,
listen, I'm gonna put it up.
Please put that up.
But listen, but this season, this was like 2020 during COVID. Jeez. And I remember everybody's remote. So the only place for me to work in the house was like in the kitchen. So I'm just eating snacks.
Boy, snacking.
And
funny.
you and Comrade call me, and at first it's the crazy part. He calls me, and he's like, hey man, I'm gonna patch BT in. I was like, for what? Like what the hell is going on?
Oh man.
Y'all had a fat intervention.
Yeah, man.
And legitimately was like, hey, you good? It was very serious as well.
No, it was a very serious thing, man. Like I think And I'll double back on this again, or triple back on this. Like, I'm a very family-oriented person. I know you are too.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you want to be there for India,
Yeah.
and for Tatum, and now for Benjamin. But when I see you out of shape, that means you're not taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, as a friend and as a brother, and I view you as one of my best friends, so you probably know that. But I need you to be around for them,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, when I see you do like get out of shape, and I am. Some of my friends probably call me a dick for this, but I call my friends out on that, because I feel like that is one of the lowest thresholds of things you can do to like prolong your life, man. Just work out, man. Like, just take care of yourself, right? You have a family, you have people who care for you. I care for you. I want to see you get old. I want to be old with you. Like, I want to be able to like joke around and stuff like that. And it's like, if you're not around, what is everything you're doing this for? Like, you're getting all this money, you're making all this. You're not gonna enjoy it, right? You're not gonna enjoy it with the people you love. So like, when Conrad hit me up like, yo, man, Ben got a little chubby. And then I was like, how chubby you talking? And then he was like, we called you, because I remember I was in San Diego at the time.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what's this nigga Conrad want? And then he was like, yo, Ben. And then we called you were like, yo, what's up, dog? Like, what's up? And I was like, yo. And then I mean, that put a battery in your back, though,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
that changed your life now a lot. But it's I think as a man to man, brother to brother, friend to friend, woman to woman, I think we need to be accountable for our friends more often than we are not. We are too like, I feel like we're too like nice and too sensitive to other people, instead of telling your friends how things really are, right? Like, you see somebody doing something that you know that's not good for them, check them. Like, yo, like, tell them, like, this is not good for you. This is why. Let me help you if you need help. If you don't need help, all right, well, I'm gonna keep you accountable, right? Accountability is the thing that I get paid for very well for, is accountability, right? Like, some of my clients could probably work out by themselves, but they want to be held accountable. So like, I hold my friends accountable. Like, I'll see you and I know like kind of like how deep our friendship is, so I can kind of joke with you about certain things. Like, when we were at homecoming, I saw two of my friends, and I was like, oh man, I was patting them on the belly, like, oh man, you got a little chubby, And then I did that, but I also got on a text message string with them, and then I text them every morning at 6 a.m. like, yo, do your work, right? Because it's like, I want you to be here. I want to celebrate 20 years, but I want to celebrate 40 years with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, the only way that happens is if you're alive and I'm alive, right? God forbid.
Yeah, man. And like, we joke about that story, but to your point, it's like, it showed me like the intentionality and like the true meaning behind our relationship, right?
sure,
Because it's like, to me, it's the ultimate, like, I think, example of like true care, immense care. It's like, dude, I want you to be here. I want you to make sure that you're here for your family. I want to continue you just sit like, grow old and still joke and laugh together, so it's time to like lock back in. And to that point, like, that was the battery that I needed, because it was like, I mean, when you were out of shape, you're like embarrassed to have your shirt off. You're embarrassed to
You be in the pool with the t-shirt on.
Dude, I mean, I wasn't doing that.
Stick it to you.
But it's insane, so it's like, you need people, in my humble opinion, because I think sometimes I'm like that a lot with my friends. I try to hold my friends accountable, because the things that I expect people to hold me accountable and call it out. So I think it's funny, man, but it correlates to like you being excellent at your job as well, and motivating people and getting people to lock in, man. It's great. So I appreciate, again, like, the brotherhood. Continue to always do that with me, man. It only helps me get better.
And I think people should do that with people along all lines, right? Like, if you see somebody who's being financially irresponsible, you should also call them out, like, in a way that your relationship allows, right? Like, don't overstep your relationship if you don't have a good relationship with somebody. Like, but if your relationship allows that, you should definitely, as a friend, as somebody who's trying to keep somebody accountable, you should definitely step up and do that. Like, that's what a friendship is. Like, I'm not supposed to say everything you like.
Yeah, you got it.
Right?
You got it. That's in everything, right?
Yeah,
and I think that's the misstep. What's the point?
Yeah, it's like, there's no benefit of doing that to you or to them.
Yeah.
It's detrimental, in fact. But that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
good, man. So I do want to pivot and talk a little bit just about your mom's legacy. You did
sure.
unfortunately lose your mother, was
Yeah,
it 2020,
2020, yeah, February.
due
Yeah,
to cancer. And you were close with her, right? So I
yeah,
remember, you navigating through that. We were still in COVID, which was crazy,
yeah.
on top of all that. But can you just share a little bit more about her legacy and how that impacted your journey?
Yeah, of course. Like I said before, like my mom was, I'm a mama's boy for sure. There's no question about it, right? I'm the youngest child of three. Um, my mom's impact on me was enormous. From telling me to go to Morehouse, like giving me no option. I feel like I feel like moms always know best, right? And it's like as as a man and as somebody who I wants to have kids one day, I know that like my kids will probably love me, but there's always gonna be a special relationship with their mother, right? And that is a bond, especially as a man, as a boy. That's a bond that's probably very difficult to break or very difficult to take away, right? My mom kind of passed abruptly. So when my mom found out she had cancer, that was in probably August of 2019. I knew there was something wrong because around my brother's, I think it was around my brother's birthday. I think my brother was turning 39 or whatever age my brother was turning. I think he was 39. Yeah, he was turning 39 that year. She was like, "Oh, you need to come home for your brother's birthday." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Why?" I was like, "It's 39. It's no big deal." I was like, "I don't want to come out." Um, She's like, "No, you should come home for your brother's birthday." And I was like, "I'm not coming home." And then my dad calls me. He's like, "You need to come home for your brother's birthday." And I was like, "All right." She's like, "We want to celebrate you and your brother because my birthday's August, as you know. And then his is September." Um, so I come home or whatever. And then my mom's like, she sits me down. She's like, "So I have cancer." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What stage?" And she's like, "Stage one." And I was like, "All right, stage one or stage two?" And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." Like for me, like my mom is like, if anybody would ever go to our house back in St. Louis, our house is like, my mom had like a green thumb. We had like an immaculate garden, right? My mom was in like Architectural Digest. She was in all these magazines for her garden. Like I always see my mom like picking up topsoil, they're like 20 to 40 pounds, putting one on each shoulder, walking on the backyard, having a wheelbarrow, putting me in the wheelbarrow, doing all this. So like I see my mom as a super person, like a super woman. So I've never seen my mom actually like fragile or weak or anything like that. So when she told me that, it was like the first time I've actually seen like vulnerability from my mom, right? And I'm like, damn, like this is crazy to see someone that I've never seen weak before, like in this type of environment, in this stage of their life. But I was like, she's gonna be good because that's what superheroes do. They usually get through, right? And then progresses. I'm sorry, time progresses, and then around December, one of my aunts calls me, who's helping take care of my mom. She's like, "B, you need to come back to see your mom." And I'm like, they're like, her cancer's gotten, it's a lot worse than you think it is. She didn't tell you how bad it was because she doesn't want you to panic. It's a lot worse. I was like, okay. This is when I just transferred to a different Equinox, and I was like in the process of like being like the highest level trainer at Equinox you could be. And so I was doing that process, and I was telling them, I was like, I got to go home. My mom has cancer, blah blah blah. And then I went back home, and then this time when I saw my mom home, she was like started chemotherapy. She was bald. She probably lost like 30 pounds. And she was like, she needed help around the house. Like she needed help. And this is a person who I'd never seen like again week before. So like that like hit me, and I was like, wow. I was like, my mom is not the same anymore. Like she's not the same strength physically. And then she's like, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. And then I went back to New York, came back. I was flying back and forth pretty much every other weekend. And then every time I came back, it got worse, right? Like it just got worse. Like she just got worse. And I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but in January, I was up for my promotion for the Equinox thing. And at the same time, I was like, my mom was getting bad. So I was like, it's not a no-brainer for me. So I went home, and my mom was, they were like, she has stage 4 cancer, like it's terminal, like she will pass. And they're like, it's just a matter of time when she'll pass. And I was like, wow. I was like, this turned out way worse than I thought, right? And that's when we talk about this often. And I was like, we are on borrowed time, right? Like you're literally living on borrowed time. And that is another reason why, like, all the ambitions, all the regrets that people have, you need to just shoot that shot, right? Because we are on borrowed time. That time could expire at any time. We don't know that. But you want to try to live your life and leave that legacy when you can. And I think my mom did a very good job of that. But when I came back in February, that was like the last time I knew I was going to see my mom, right? So it was just like, I went to the hospital where she was lying there. She could barely talk. And I like, one of like the hardest things for me was like, since I was the youngest, I knew my parents wanted to be grandparents. So like I was like, Mom, I'm gonna make you a grandparent sooner than Pascal and John. I was like, I'll be first. Like, I got you. And I didn't do that, but my sister did. But I didn't do that, and I apologized to her for that, right? And that was like a big mental hurdle for me. And like, she could barely talk at this point. She was like, it's okay. Like she's like, you're adding stress to yourself for no reason, right? And then hearing her tell me that it was okay, like lighten a big load off my back. But it also made me like feel like I was gonna be okay, like in life, right? And we took her home that day, and then she passed the next morning. They said she probably had like 2 weeks or whatever it is. She ended up passing the next morning at her house, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. It's something that I still I have regrets that like I didn't go back enough. Regrets that I didn't do enough while she was here to see it. I lost a lot of faith in like God, because I'm like, my mom was very God fearing, and it's like, how can you take something like this away? How can you take somebody, one of your best people away, who's helped so many people away? Like, why would you take one of these people? Like, why don't you? And that questioned my faith immensely, right? And I'm still building back my faith, but there were times where like I knew, like past that, like, and we, like you said, we went into COVID. So after my mom passed, we went straight into solitary.
Yeah.
So there was like
In New York.
in New York, right? So it's like I was like a year or so where I was just literally by myself, right, in New York, where you couldn't really travel at the time. And my mom, just like the person who's like the biggest part of my life, or one of the biggest people part of my life, is gone. And I'm like grief and all this stuff, right? And it's just like that put me into a state of like depression. And funny enough, the only way I got out of that depression was like faith, right? And I was just like, this is so, in my head, I was like, this is so whack that I got out of this from faith. But it's just what it was, man. And it was definitely trying, and it's something that I'm still working on for like building that faith up. But yeah, I mean, love your mothers, man.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Yeah.
No, man, it's good. And I appreciate you sharing that. I mean, I knew a lot of it just by like trying to check in on you, you know, during that process, because especially because it was like COVID was insane. And then COVID in New York was like 2-3x everywhere else. You know, in the South, we could at least
Spread
get
out.
and
I
like
could drive around. New York was crazy. Like in the Central Park, they had like a little tent where they threw the bodies in.
Jeez.
You would just, that's when I bought a bicycle. I was like, I'm gonna get out here somewhere. And I was riding my bike around. You would see like the tents, there's bodies in there. And I'm like, yo, this is real?
Yeah.
Very crazy.
What a crazy time, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tell me more about, you know, after the passing of your mom, like, did it give you and your siblings a chance to like bond even more? Your sister now lives here in Atlanta, and
Yeah.
you know you got 3 nieces slash nephews, and yeah, just tell me more. Are there? It's
All boys.
all boys. Sorry, all
All
nephews.
gang.
And like you come here way more frequent than you
Yeah.
have ever spent time in Atlanta. So was
Posting.
that a silver lining for you?
No, absolutely, right? And that's I think that was one of the bigger things. Like for me, like I think one of the things that definitely helped our family with, as far as siblings, my siblings, is it made my brother like really become a big brother. Like he was a big brother, but he
Yeah.
became like very protective of us, right? And it was like I've never seen that side of him outside of like maybe my sister when like guys would try to flirt with my sister. He'd be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, it's my sister," type. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But like he became like very protective and very like outspoken about a lot of stuff, which made me feel good. And it was like, oh wow, like this is the bond that I always wanted, right? From my brother and my sister. But yeah, like I'm always in Atlanta seeing my nephews. My nephews are like one of my favorite things in the world. They're funny. They're boys. Are bad. They're great. They're handsome. Very smart. And it's like, and I know my mom would be like super proud to see that, right? Like my mom would be like, she'd be overjoyed to see that. My sister has 3 boys, and they're basically the same attachment I had to my mom. They're kind of attached to my sister that way.
Yep.
It's crazy to see. That was definitely like a bonding experience that an unfortunate bonding experience that we
Yeah.
had,
Yep.
but yeah, it definitely brought us all very close together.
It's good, man. I'd be remiss, man, if I didn't ask you for the health of everybody,
Yeah,
hopefully that consumes this, you know, since it's your job as well. But like
sure.
when it comes to people's health, right? Like what should they be prioritizing?
I would tell people this all the time, man. And this again, this doesn't just apply to wellness and health. It's biggest 2 things you can do is be disciplined and be consistent. Like, we need to be consistent first, right? The lowest consistency in the sense that like if you think you want to do 5 times a week, aim for 3 times a week first, right? Always build, like always build up as opposed to starting high and then falling short of that high, right? Because when you fall short of that high, that's when you're like, oh, I missed today, I did this, that. But if you start with 2 days a week, you build 2 days a week, you start getting a routine, develop that routine and build on the routine. Your habits are going to be what you fall back to, right? So like if you eat breakfast, try to eat breakfast at the same time every day. Try to go to the gym at the same time every time you go, right? Just build that routine in because then once it becomes a practice and a habit, it's gonna be harder to break those habits, right? So it's like if you go to the gym, like I know you, right? So like you have like a very tight schedule that you keep. And I saw like your schedule, like one time you posted, you were like gym at like 5 o'clock, home this time, home this time, home this time. If people could actually just line up their schedule where they can actually just like see the things that they want to do, and even if they go to the gym and they just walk on the treadmill, they'll be better off just walking on the treadmill. Then over time, they'll start to do other things, right? But it's the consistency of being there in the space, the discipline to go, and then the balance to be like, all right, well, I'm going to do 3 times a week, but I'm going to also go out and have wine with my friends. That's fine. Like, I think people always think that you have to be at one end of the spectrum and the other. You want to be in between. You always want to be on the balance because if you do something to the extreme, eventually when you fold and you go to the other side, you might just completely fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
So I always tell my clients balance, consistency, and discipline is literally the best way to start. And then you just got to get going. Like get going, get going, get going. And then it's like once you get going, you see that first like ab or you see that first tricep muscle, yo, that's it. Like you'll go.
Dude, you hit it on, you will go. And you hit it on the head because it's
Yeah.
like there is nothing almost on earth, you know, removing like dealing with, you know, death of a loved one, all of that. But when it comes to your individual journey, then when you're fat or super out of shape,
Bro.
and then like going to the gym that first 2-3
Yeah.
weeks, you are in there defeated.
Yeah, you're in there defeated, and then you're also self-conscious about yourself. Like, how do I look in front of all these people, all these things? So a lot of things go in your head, but it's like, if that's what goes through your head, I would tell somebody your first task and your first job is just to go. Even if you go there and you're on the stairmaster for 15 minutes, just go. Like, get into the gym, and then once you start like get in the gym, you start doing stairmaster, you might venture out to do other things.
Yeah.
Like, just go. Like, you just have to get started. And that's
Yeah.
with everything. Just get started, and once you get that discipline, that consistency, like, there's so many ways you could go about like working out where you might not need to go to the gym. You can start at home and do at home gym if you're disciplined enough to do that,
Yep.
right? Most people are not disciplined enough to do
Correct.
that. So I tell them not to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that is where like you get like a group fitness class that comes into play, or you hire a trainer and you have some accountability. Because if you put that money up, a lot of times you're not going to just like ditch the money. And that's the reason why I charge a good amount of money, because I'm like, yo, like, I don't want you to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. So for this hour that we're going to be together, I'm going to charge you X amount. You'll be on time. I'll get you out of here on time. You'll have a great workout. You'll start to see those changes that you want, and you'll build that consistency and discipline so that eventually when we part ways, you can just continue on that path, right? Because I don't want you to be with me your entire time, unless you're somebody who's like high functioning person where you're like, I need order all the time. But if you can just get that going, yeah. And as far as the food thing, people know when they overeat.
Yeah. Every time.
It's not like it's like a question. Like, if you send me a picture of your plate, and like your entire plate's full of just like French fries and stuff like that, I'm like, all right. Like, what? I'm like, you want me to, like, at that point, I'm like, you want me to tell you that you're eating bad?
Yeah.
Most people know when they're eating bad. Like, I was here this week. I'm gonna say eating bad because I love, this is one of my favorite places to go to.
No, hey, don't do it.
It's not, but see, the thing is, I can still eat around that, and for me, it's like, I had a restaurant where I go to, and I had a grilled chicken sandwich twice. And then I was like, as a treat to myself, I'm gonna get some fries. So I got some fries on both orders, and then a milkshake, right? But for me, that's not bad, because that's like in the essence of everything else I ate that week, which was, I eat pretty well, right?
You earned that day.
Yeah, I've earned that day, and I've earned this weekend, right? And that's not going to set me back, because as soon as I go back to New York, I'm right back into my habits that I've created. But like, it's the fact that you don't have a habit, or you don't have a baseline in place where you can fall back to. Instead of falling back to a baseline, you fall back through the entire floor, right? So like, getting back to like the whole savings account thing, like, when you save money, you don't want to like save 1,000 and then take out of your savings account immediately and go back down. You want to save 1,000. This is your baseline now. And then every time you make more money, you put a little bit more money in there. This becomes your floor. This becomes your floor. So you're just trying to bring your floor up, and then your ceiling eventually goes up with your floor. Pretty much what I say.
It's good, man. A couple more quick questions for you.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
So tell me about, like, to me, you're somebody that like has chased your passion, chased your dreams, is what it feels like, which I think is really, really dope and super inspiring. But what advice would you give to young professionals that are in corporate America and they're like, this isn't it, and they have this idea, or they have this passion, or they have this thing that they want to chase? Any lessons learned that you would tell them about your journey and or watch outs, or what advice would you give them?
What advice would I give them? One thing I would definitely say to somebody who has a idea is, firstly, the people that you tell this idea to, make sure that they are actually like your real friends, right? Because initially, if you tell people you have like this idea of doing something, their immediate reaction is going to be like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that. And that could be from a protective standpoint, because they don't want you to lose what you have, but it also could be because they can't see themselves doing it, right? So like, let's say we wrestle on Sundays, and we talked about this actually, and you told somebody like, oh, I want to try this idea of We Wrestle on Sundays podcast. Person would be like, nah, don't do that. It's going to be a waste of your time. and that person's deflating your goal, and it's like, yo, like they're saying no because maybe they don't have that type of drive or passion, right? But if you're passionate about something and you know that you'll be able to give this 100% your max effort and you're willing to grind for it, there's no reason why you can either make it a side business at first, which means that you might have to wake up at, kind of like you do, you might have to wake up at 4 o'clock, right? You might wake up at 4 o'clock, and then after work, you have to work afterwards, right? But if there's something you're passionate about, that shouldn't be work anyways. It should be something that's like, oh, this is fun to do, right? Kind of like me when I was working out, I was like, I didn't mind waking up and working out at like 5 o'clock in the morning at the time I was in finance, or working out at like 9:30 p.m. at night, because I was like, I enjoy doing this. So like if something you're passionate about, you'll find time to do it. And then just don't tell people who you think are going to just automatically deflate your idea or your passion, because that is where I think most people stop with their ideas and their creativity.
Man, you hit that on the head, and it's really, really good advice. And we have talked about it a lot, because even like selfishly talking about like this journey is, I've had this idea for years.
Yeah.
And I told it to the wrong person in reality, you know?
Yeah.
And it had me second guessing myself. It had me doubting myself. It had me saying like, I'm really good in corporate America. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's like two things can be true though.
Both can be true.
You know what I'm saying? I can be really good in corporate America, and then I can learn a new skill and put up a shot, and see where this takes me.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. So I think that like if you have a dream, like protect that dream and that passion that you have with your life.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think gives you an advantage is that India, right? Like your wife.
Yep.
You have a wife who is very supportive of you. Like hopefully everybody's wife is supportive of them, but India is very supportive of you, right? And so like she's like chase that, right?
Yeah.
And like some people don't have that support system where it's like chase that dream.
Yeah.
Like we'll figure it out, like chase that dream. And like I think we have false support systems of people who just want to be around us when certain things are going well, and then when they kind of fall out, they're like, all right, well, I'll get back to you when you get back up. And like I think I think unfortunately for you, and fortunately for you, that person told you not to do it then, but now you're doing it now, and now it's like you're steamrolling, right? Like you're doing like your productivity on it is immense, right? Like you set this joint up, like Dr. Doolittle or not Dr. Doolittle, what's my boy's name? MacGyver, and here putting this shit together. Like that's dope, man. Like when I saw you doing this, I was like, yo, this is crazy. This nigga's really doing this shit in my sister's house, man. Like, and I was like, this is crazy. Like you got the setup, you do the mics, you do the editing, like. I think a lot of people don't, and for me, I've never seen like this whole like production put together at any point, right? Like I've never been behind a camera really, or seeing how it gets done, and it's like seeing just this part of it alone. I know that it's like, and this to me, this is your baseline, right? Like this is your baseline, and like in a year, I don't think you'll just have these two. I don't think you have two cameras. You might have 3, 4 cameras. And then you might have the big mic here, so we might have the other mics there, and it's just like your baseline just grows. And since I know you, I know how much effort you're gonna put into this, and I know that this joint's gonna be popping on Sundays for sure. Like you know what I'm saying, and I'm gonna get my cut off the rip.
No.
My coupon.
Dog, yo, it's coming, man. My last question for you, man, and I appreciate your time for sure, but if your mom could see you in your journey and where you're at currently, what do you think that she would reflect and say?
I think first thing she'll probably say is like, she'll give me a hug and be like, I'm proud of you, B. Because that was one thing that I think I misunderstood from my mom. Like even both my parents, was that not regardless of what I do, but like as long as I'm trying and putting the effort in, they will always be proud of me, right? And I thought, even when I was doing like max effort stuff and I wasn't achieving as much as I thought I should be achieving, she was still proud of me. But I didn't think that in my head, and that was like a self-inflicting thing I put on myself. But I think she would definitely say like, I'm proud of you from like where you are right now. And it's like, as Kobe said, job's not finished.
Yeah.
You gotta keep going. But yeah, that she's proud of me for sure. Yeah, which is as a son,
That's all you want.
it's all I want. It's like you want to make your parents proud, but also like do things that you're proud of as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what she would say.
It's good, man. Listen, bro, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for
No.
allowing me to come into your sister's beautiful home.
I did always. Yeah.
Whether she knows or not.
Yeah, she'll know eventually.
Right soon.
She'll see the picture.
But no, man, in all seriousness, I appreciate the brotherhood more than you know, man.
Yeah,
And
man.
like through the years, the loyalty, the support financially, you know, mentally, spiritually, physically, you know what I'm saying? The encouragement when I was unhealthy to getting healthy, man, just showing up for my family, you know, and holding me and India down, man. You've been with us and around us the entire journey, which is really, really crazy, you know. And it's meaningful to me. And relationships like this, I think more men need these and people that I can call you at any point. I know that. And like I can ask you, or I can just talk to you, or I can vent to you, or I can be sad in the moment about whatever it may be. And you have the same, you know, with me. So know that I don't take the brotherhood lightly. I'm grateful for you and the man that you are and how you continue to lean into like the friendship and just the brotherhood, man. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And same thing, man. Like like I said before in the early stages of this podcast, or not the podcast, so we rest on Sundays. Damn. Like I'm like beyond proud to have you as a friend and as a brother, bro. Like it's always something that's like, it's cool to see your friends like in college. It's like where they are now. Like it's like, man, it's like, yo, this dude used to do what? It's like, wow. And it's just like, it's just amazing just to see that. And it's just like seeing you at Chick-fil-A thrive, going to Puerto Rico, going here, going there. And I'm like, this dude's doing this for a job? He's not he's traveling for work, not just for vacation. It's crazy. But yeah, like I think that's dope, man. I think all friendships should be very honest and very like open, where you can help people, critique them, and you can just give them your best version of yourself and your worst version of themselves, right? And a lot of that is just built over time, and yeah, man. Thank you for having me, though.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All right.